Back to another episode of No Pussies Allowed. We have a information and knowledgeable episode today. We have the CEO and president of a unique company that can help California after the Sunset Fires that took place and took a lot of homes from a lot of people. Without further ado, we're going to go to Paul Falco.
Hey, Glenn, thanks. Pleasure to be here. Glad to be able to talk about this. We've developed this product over 12, 15 years ago. The idea was to insulate homes and also to increase fireproofing. And at the time, no one was really interested. But I'm going to show you a little video here, what we did. We're going to play this now here. You can see what we did is we took a torch and we put it on a sample. And we have a heat gun on the other side. And so we're showing the temperature in the split screen there. As we have the flame from the torch is 8,500 degrees. And this is only 1.5 inch thick panel. And we're going to leave it on here for over a minute. And as you can see, blazing hot, as hot as it can be. It's like being in the bellows of a steel melting foundry. This is the type of temperatures that we're talking about right here, which you're not really going to see in a fire, though with the Palisades fire, with the wind blowing as it was probably about the same as a foundry, the amount of heat that was going on. So if we're able to protect the home from that type of ravaging fire, we won't have the kind of thing. So the idea is this, is that we can clad homes with this material. And we can make a fire break. So we clad the homes that are all around the outside edge of the forest, right? So now the whole neighborhood is not going to catch on fire because the first houses don't catch on fire. And we can protect either the first or first 2 rows of homes for a lot less money than it would cost to fix these things, that's for sure. You can see after we did this now, we put it on the center and it's an error because it's over, 6,000 degrees. This gun only goes up to, I think 5,000 degrees, so it can't reach that. But you can see in the center now, we're already at, we're 490, 500 degrees up in the center. It was over 8,500. And, that makes a big deal. Not only fireproofing, soundproofing, weatherproofing, you would reduce the cost of heating and cooling the house by about 75% by having this installed on the building. The idea that I would like to go to would be that, if we can get the government to provide a program that would help fund these buildings, that we can go to work right now, and
right.
We can have these homes, that we can make them so that they're going to be fireproof, that we would stop this nonsense where, it's really not feasible that we're going to be able to keep the forest clean and stop the debris from falling that's going to cause this issue. Until every power line is put under the ground, we're going to have that kind of problem too, right? It just a matter of time before it happens again. So the best way would be to protect the homes, and then on top of it, we're making them more energy efficient. We're making them a better home, and these things are never going to go anywhere. Now we got some homes that we have out here that we've done a home in for Habitat for Humanity that we had done, and we encapsulated the whole building. And let me see here. I think I got some pictures for you. So we'll just start right out. Here's a few pictures for you. Well, if I can get them to come up. So here we are. This is a spec mix that we use to mix the batch. You see the house behind us there with the trees on it. Mm-hmm. These are called spider ties. This is a way that we can attach to the building. We can put steel rebar in here to make a structural building on top. Or we just do a 2-inch building. So this is what's done. We wrap the outside. We're going to put this material on here so we can put rebar and make a structural outside, and then we're going to put the plywood on the outside. Then we can pour this, and we go through the whole building like this. We pour it all.
Now, let me ask you this, Paul. What's the cost? What would be the cost of something like this on a house, let's say, valued at $600,000?
Okay, well, all right. So a house like this, you'd be looking at something like $30,000, $40,000 to do cladding on the outside. Yeah. I think the best way to do is for us to just come out and form around the house and pour it. We take the roof off and replace the roof on top. So depending on the type of roof, how much that would cost to replace the roof portion of it. But we just basically form up around the house to create a fireproof barrier, which is also a high insulator. And let me show you some pictures of that house after we finished it. Take a look at this. This is the home after it was finished. This is, here you go, this is in the process. This is after we pulled it up before we stuccoed.
Yeah.
Get ready for stucco. This is after the stucco finish.
Yeah.
This was done over 15 years ago. We went by there a couple weeks ago. It looks just as nice. It's still just as beautiful as now. Again, so the house, what's to make the house look? It looks just like it used to look.
Right.
Or if the house is in rough shape, it's gonna make it look a lot better.
Right.
That's for sure.
Now, let me ask you this. When it comes to California, how do you think your product will help protect the homes and prevent the spread of wildfires into neighborhoods from home to home?
Well, you know, we can do a panel that we have. That we can attach to the home. So if you have a place where the homes are really close together, which in many cases in Southern California, the homes are very close together, well, all through California. And so if we put the cladding on between both buildings, so when they're separated by 5 or 6 feet, the heat coming from one building will not penetrate through the outside wall to get to the next building, or should there be some other situation where the building isn't clad next door, it will not spread to the cladded building. We can put it on in between the walls. Most importantly is on the roof. I'm going to show you something else that we did when we tested this stuff here. And we call it bulletproof because we used this when we shot in, and you see there's 2 different pictures here. One of them here we use with the helix fiber, and the other one without the helix fiber. And you can see that without the helix fiber cracked and blew apart from the bullet shots, but the helix fiber, here we are. They're all pretty well grouped as well with a 44 caliber. These bullets only penetrated 2 inches into this and stopped without spalling, without causing any other damage. So you can call this a bulletproof material that can go on the outside of these buildings. And now here's what we do on the roof, right? We're gonna form it up, and then we're gonna put this material on through the forms there. And then the whole roof, again, if we have this on the roof of the house, it can't possibly burn.
Wow.
It's a waterproofer on top of it. So you just put your roofing on top of this as a decoration. We're working on right now to have forms made that stamp this to make it look just like roofing tile. So we can make it look like roofing tile as opposed to re-roofing over the top.
Right. So now again, let me just make sure I got you correct. So you said soundproof, fireproof, and bulletproof?
Yes.
I can't believe how the government hasn't took up with any of this stuff.
Well, I think the big thing is it just nobody really knows.
Right.
I mean, we did some promotional stuff early on, but you know, we're a company, we have to make money.
Right.
So we do business where we're working on power plants and other important things, dams, levees, piers. You know, we did the Manhattan Cruise Terminal Pier 88 and 90 a few years back, underwater cellular. We poured this stuff underwater, shoring up dams and levees all over the country. We've done work down in Florida on dams. We've done work in Ohio, Racine, Ohio on the hydroelectric dam out there. This stuff is used for a lot of high-profile stuff, but it can be used to protect homes. It can be used so that we can save homes from burning down. And you know, I've heard some comments that were a little disturbing to me, where people would say, well, gee, these people had all kinds of money up there, and you know, tough luck, you can just move into your other house. And look, you got to understand that even though they might be an actor in Hollywood or a producer or a screenwriter or something, they're one movie from being a nobody. And half of these people are nobodies, and no one knows who they are anyhow. Right. They live a nice life, but again, there's no other place to go for them. They lost everything. This is not like, oh, it's okay because they had money. They don't have that much money. Most people have all their wealth is in their home and in their belongings, possessions. They don't have millions of dollars sitting in the bank. Oh, I'll just go buy another house. It doesn't work like that. And so you got to understand that, you know, and from our point of view too, I don't care whether you're Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. We're going to fix your house.
Right.
Okay, so you want me to build your house, I'll build you a fireproof house. We use steel studs, we're gonna use concrete exterior cladding for the exterior walls. And we'll build the shells, we put a factory right there in the neighborhood of Pacific Palisades and rebuild all those houses exactly how they were in short order. We could put a factory right there in the neighborhood and start constructing homes using steel studs and concrete panels on the outside to make them, and then we'll leave the shell you finish the shell. You do any kind of finish you want. You do the finest of finishes or the standard finishes, it's up to you. But what you need is a shell so that the whole neighborhood doesn't burn down again. Now, the chance of this same neighborhood burning down with another wildfire, well, that's probably never gonna happen because it doesn't happen twice in the same place.
Right.
So there's an awful lot of homes that are in peril that need to be protected for the future wildfire. We have Santa Ana winds in California come every year. I lived in California for 35 years. I know this. This is what happens.
Right.
I've been on a job with a piece of plywood in my hand, almost blow me off the roof. I mean, we're talking wind, they're crazy. We would put plastic up to try and protect us from the cold of the wind. It was stretching the black plastic to almost you could see through it. That's how strong those winds are.
Wow.
So you put that against a fire, you can't stop. I don't care how much water you got.
Right.
You can't put it out with water. You can't put it out with anything. Well, the only way you can make it stop is by having something that doesn't burn. It's got to be a non-combustible building material.
Right.
It's time for this to stop. We've had the technology for a long, long time. 50 years, steel studs, concrete. We've been showing it forever. It's about time that maybe someone there in Hollywood might want to take notice. Maybe someone there in Washington, D.C. might want to take notice. Maybe someone at the mayor's office might want to take notice and say, hey, let's help these people build a house back that's not going to burn down again.
Right.
And we'll save the whole community. I mean, the heartache for this amount of people is debilitating for the whole country. To see these things, to have this happening, it's just heart-wrenching to watch.
Right.
And I don't want to sit on the sideline and say, gee, I told you so. No, what I have is we can fix it. Let's do something now.
Right, to know that you have something that could fix it and not, I get exactly what you're saying. Let me ask you this so we can help the viewers understand. So what is the benefit of using your cellular concrete versus conventional concrete?
Okay, well, cellular concrete is an aerated concrete. So number one, it has a much lower water absorption. Regular concrete's 56% water absorption. Cellular concrete's 15%, and we've even recorded down to 7%. So water absorption. Then we have the heat penetration and heat storage factor. That regular concrete will store the heat because it's dense. The more dense as something is, like steel, you heat it up, it's going to stay hot for a long time.
Exactly, right.
You lean on your hood of your car, or black car, you burn your arm.
That's
okay?
right.
Then you got a white car, different story.
Exactly.
So the density of the material is what absorbs the heat. So with cellular concrete, it doesn't absorb the heat. As you saw in our test, it won't allow the heat to penetrate more than maybe a quarter inch.
Ah, gotcha. That's why it's cold to touch.
It comes. When you're done doing it, it's cold to touch. It's not the same as regular concrete in many aspects. Now, we can make it structural and still have it half the weight of regular concrete, which helps with the structural integrity of the building. Having a lighter but stronger material, it's why they make different buildings out of different type of building materials that make them lighter but stronger. And that's what we're able to do with this. So by using a building method of a steel stud, so we're not going to have the issue of structural strength you have to worry about. We can do an infill of the cellular concrete, which the cellular concrete becomes the insulation as well. Because it doesn't have the heat sink feature, and we do a test, and it's a R2 per inch of the cellular concrete. So if we do a 6-inch studded wall with the steel studs, we're going to have like an R14 based on the standard testing, but that's not how what it works. They don't take heat penetration and the heat sink into account because they're doing it for a fiberglass insulation is what the test is designed for. So when you put cellular concrete under the same test, we don't get the results that are really showing what it truly makes, that you're unable to penetrate any heat. It doesn't matter. We ran a heat test that we have too. We ran it for 4 days straight, 130 degrees on the outside of the wall. Ran it for 4 days. There was zero temperature change inside. It's not going to change temperature no matter how long you run it.
Wow. That's a perfect segue into my next question. What does your company offer that makes you such an asset to the reconstruction efforts in California?
Well, again, it's a fireproof building, but a building method that we designed. We were invited by the managing director for the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi to go there back in 14. And we talked about the kind of buildings that we could build for them. We didn't get the project, a German company got it, and I understand why. They were 6 hours away by flight, and I was 15 hours away, so it kind of made it a little difficult for us to run the job. We were gonna run it from the middle of the night, we're gonna have to have, satellites up and so on to be able to run the job from the United States, so it really wasn't feasible for us. But with that, we had brought them a building method of a factory setup. That we can make it like a factory. We put it as an on-site factory. We can't build stuff in a factory somewhere way out in Riverside and have it shipped over to Pacific Palisades. It's not gonna work.
Right, you gotta do it right
So
there.
we need to build a factory right there. So we come in, we do a mobile factory. We bring in the batching equipment and materials. We bring in the roll form material and equipment for making these steel studs.
Okay.
We bring in the electrical and plumbing aspects that we're gonna embed into the walls as we're building these things.
Okay.
And so everything is coordinated. We take the plan for the building, we put it into the computer program for the steel form machine. It's gonna make the steel studs for us for the design. All the trusses for second story, first story, that doesn't matter how, we go up to 3-story buildings.
Yeah.
And I think over there is mostly 2-story at the most, unless you're on the side of a cliff, and then that's fine too. We built plenty of homes on a cliff in the past. I've built dozens of homes in difficult areas and hilly areas. We had some homes we built that we had to do blasting just to get the foundation in the ground because we're building on solid rock.
Right.
So I've done difficult builds before. We built some multi-story steel frame buildings. I know a little bit of something about that too as well. We are poised to do whatever is necessary to help. I don't know how soon they're gonna allow us to build, but I do know that we can protect the existing homes right now today.
Right.
And to me, that's something that needs to be got on right away. What I'm looking for is let's get a government program that pays for this to be done, and then whether it's a no-interest loan or a no loan at all, if the government's gonna have to give out all this money to pay to rebuild all these places, then they should be preventative and it's not reactive, okay?
Right.
Let's do it before, not after.
How soon could you start?
Tomorrow.
What?
Tomorrow. I mean, we have all the equipment, all the materials, everything we do to start cladding homes. Tomorrow.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. So you would just really need funding and somebody to just pull the light switch and say, hey, Mr. Falco, we need you guys to get started and we'd like you to start tomorrow. You'd be headed right there.
Yeah, you designate to me what neighborhood you wanna have done first. You tell me where you wanna put it and we'll put it there, okay? You tell me what neighborhood you wanna put this in and we'll start right there. And
Wow.
we'll start cladding the homes. We can do it right away. And I think the sooner the better because, again, we're getting out of the wind season. That means that you got about 8-9 months before the next season shows up again over there.
Right.
And it seems every single time the wind ticks up, you got some moron with a lighter out there starting a fire.
I know, that's right. So that's a perfect segue into my next question, and we could probably finish up there. I know everybody, out of sight, out of mind, but it happened a few months ago, Milton, the hurricane. How can your cellular concrete repair the roads in North Carolina so those guys could start to repair and get their life back and humanity back in North Carolina?
Well, we've been doing underground void fill for the last decade. We're very good at this. We have a small footprint. We're able to get in there with a small amount of equipment, and we can set up along the side of the road and fill up those void that were washed out from the river. And again, we don't absorb water with this material, so we can pour this. We have some thing that we'll put on as a link below, photographs of the work that we did out in California where the side of the road fell off.
Okay.
We come in, we pin it, we start up with a small retaining wall as we're filling it behind with the cellular, and we fill it all the way up to the road top. We pour up to 12-foot lifts at a time, and this stuff is not gonna wash away again, it's not gonna roll away again. We end up pouring one big huge block. as this stuff all cements together.
Yeah.
So we would be able to go there, and there too, we also have equipment ready to move, ready to put in place. We are approved contractors for North Carolina under the DOT for subsurface grouting. So we are available to go there right away and start repairing, because if we don't fix the roads, then how are you gonna get the materials in there to rebuild the homes? It's a difficult
Exactly.
situation.
Exactly.
And we'd love to get to work over there as well.
That's perfect. So, I guess with that being said, if you, the viewers, can help us, questions, comments, concern, reach out, spread the word, and help us get funding so we can start helping these people build. If there's anything else you'd like to add, Paul, we'll go ahead and let you add. If not, we'll see you on the next episode.
Well, I think we pretty much covered it all. We're ready to go to work and do the repairs that need to be done. The only other thing I would say is that, we do make a good living doing what we do. We're happy to stay where we are, but I think it's important that we use this for what it could be used for in the best application for everybody.
Right.
And so I'd like to have that happen.
Save humanity.
I mean, I'm not saying that, I'm not a savior or anything like that, but I do have something that we can use that would stop this kind of carnage and maybe save a few lives and maybe save a few families and a few lifetimes here.
With that being said, thanks for watching another episode of No Pussies Allowed. We thank Paul again for coming in and helping us out, and we'll see you on the next one.